Hello and welcome to Footy Judge Mode. This is your Tuesday view. Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. I'm not used to this. But anyway, this is your views. We got a brilliant show for you today. We'll talk about all the games over the weekend. Chelsea, they did deserve a win. Man City walk away with a point, of course. Or it's the other way around. We'll get Nobin's opinion. Tom Little with his Mo Salah and Nunes. I saw all the tweets and I actually bookmarked them when Nunes misses the next chance, of course. But Mo Salah scores 200 goals in English football. I think he's the fastest guy to do that. And Arsenal and Liverpool are flying. Manchester United, believe it or not, it's the team in form. Can someone believe that? Actually, the team in form in the Premier League are actually Manchester United.
You wouldn't think so, would you? The way they've been playing.
No, not at all. But welcome, Nobbins. Welcome, Tom. Welcome, everybody in the chat. Hit that like button for us. We got a cracking show for you today. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good.
You happy, Nobbins?
I'm a happy man.
Content with the point?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, just generally with life. Nothing specific about football. Just a happy man.
Yeah. Tom, how are you doing?
Tired.
Tired.
This storm, whatever they've decided to call it. This is a bigger gripe I have. You know when they're on about these storms and they give them names? Why do you give them crap names? Like Storm Debbie.
If you had to name a storm, Tom, what would you name a storm?
I don't know, like Storm Killer 3000. Make people realise that, these aren't being messed around with. I'm not exactly fearful of Debbie. It's just a bit annoying. When it's smashing branches against my window all night. So, yes, I'm a little bit tired. But football-wise, sound. My team that can't defend, haven't got a sustainable style of football, are going to be found out, have the best defence in the league, and are 1 point off top going into the biggest game of the season. So, could be worse.
There's only one place to start, people, right? Which is Mohamed Salah scoring 200 goals. No. We'll start at Chelsea, man. We'll start at the Stamford Bridge. I don't know how you guys saw the game. Nobbins, I'm going to start with you. I know you did a watch along. You were happy, not happy at the end of the watch along. You were kind of like, a lot of Man City fans don't know, should they be happy or should they be disappointed because they were winning? They had all these chances that they could have scored, but also Chelsea had a lot of chances. When you finished the game, how did you feel?
Yeah, weird one. You're obviously not going to feel great when you concede like a 95th minute penalty, no matter what context. But yeah, so obviously a bit deflated. But like even when like the Rordi goal went in, I obviously celebrated it, but I also like half laughed because I was like, we don't deserve this. We do not deserve to be winning this game at all. It sort of like reminded me a bit of like the Arsenal game at the Emirates, like not last season, the season before, where Rordi scored like a similar last ditch goal, and that was another undeserved. Well, I know we didn't win against Chelsea, but at that moment, undeserved win. So straight after the game, obviously deflated, but in general, we'll talk about like the match, we'll talk about like the context in more detail. But given all of that, I think actually a point was the fairest result, and I'm actually all right with the fact that we've got a point. We are top of the table by a point. So yes, I'm not too distraught about it, to be honest. I was a bit disappointed, but I'm not distraught.
Tom, when you watch the game, you're looking at Manchester City, and you feel like, this team is vulnerable, or you think, oh, this team is too strong. They scored 4 goals. How did you see it from Liverpool point of view?
From a Liverpool point of view, I was eyeing up Josko Gvardiol struggling on the right hand side, going, I cannot wait for Mo Salah to get his claws on him. I was eyeing up the way the defence without John Stones. Akanji was actually all right, to be fair. I've got to give Akanji props. I know he was struggling with injury. He was the best out of the defence. But Walker, Diaz, I was looking at that going, if they have a performance like that against us, we'll kill them. Because our attackers don't miss the chances Chelsea's did. Chelsea should have won that game by... They should have scored 6 or 7. And that's what made me happy a bit as a Liverpool fan. But God, but when City get into it, and the issue they've had for me this season is they've not dominated games. They've not dominated these big games in the way they used to. It's often been spells. They've given up a lot more of these games than what they normally do. They've been a lot closer in certain aspects. But when they do have their spell, where it's just classic City, oh my God, I can't be bothered. It's just so easy for them to get going. It was the third goal. I think that one's going under the radar a little bit. The link up between Foden, Alvarez, Haaland, just perfectly played. Like, that's what worries me. City is still City. It was a bad result in terms of what they should have got, because I thought going into it they were going to whitewash Chelsea. I thought that their team was perfectly set up to deal with it. But Nobbins will probably know better. That defence just didn't look settled. It did not look like it wanted to be on that football pitch yesterday, and that's got to be the worry for City at the minute, because it's not the first game that's happened. And if that's going to be a recurring issue throughout the season, results like this are going to become a more common occurrence.
I think all I'd say to that is that's the worst game Diaz has had in a City shirt. That's the worst Gvardiol's been in so far this season. Gvardiol's been a rock. He's been the best left centre back, whatever you want to say, in the league this season. That's his first bad game. Walker, that's his first proper bad game this season. Rodri's worst game in a City shirt post his first season. It's very unlikely that all of that is going to happen again, especially all at the same time, in my view. The defence has been very good this season. I think I checked, we've conceded 12 goals and a third of them happened yesterday. So that yesterday was, I think, more of an outlier, more so than, obviously, if that happens against Liverpool, I would change my tune. But as things stand, it was an outlier. The last time we conceded at least 4 goals in a game was actually before Ruben Diaz joined the club. It was against Leicester. Yeah, in the COVID season, and then we signed Diaz. So I'd be.
Do you know why I don't think it's outlier, Nobins? Do you know why I don't think this is an outlier? Because everybody that watched the game with their eyes saw this coming. They didn't see 4 goals, but they saw exactly how your defense is going to be vulnerable against a Chelsea team with pace. Because when you play Alvarez, when you play Bernardo Silva in the middle, Rordi is kind of isolated, which is very obvious. It was very obvious in this game in the middle. But people saw this coming. It's not like we went to the game. Like, I went to the game and I said, yeah, Man City will win the game, but Chelsea will have spaces behind them. That's how I saw it. I 100% looked at it. I'm like, yeah, this Chelsea team can get behind this Man City, and it's going to be down to the one-on-one battles. And 50-50 of the battles were won by Chelsea. Like 50 of them, like if you look at Sterling versus Walker, both of them got the better of each other at some point. That's when you leave your Man City team, your defender, which is always, by the way, it's a Pep Guardiola thing. It's all depending on the one-on-one. And if your defender is having a bad day, that's what happens. Like what happened. Kyle Walker on the left couldn't contain Raheem Sterling. Gvardiol couldn't contain Colin Palmer. And even Jackson, I thought, had a lot of joy, actually, against Diaz and against Akanji. Because Akanji was playing the midfield. Akanji was the guy inverting. So if you're going to say this one off, imagine the same game you play against Brighton. Imagine the same game you play against Isak, you play against Gordon. Imagine the same game you play against Liverpool. Now, Arsenal, you kind of play it differently, because Arsenal, you were actually a little bit holding back, which was intended from Guardiola. But against the other teams, he's not going to do that. That's how I was looking at this game, because I saw this happen before the game. Of course, I didn't see you scoring 4, and I didn't see them scoring 4. Nobody saw that. But we saw the chances.
I think the thing is, though, with City's goals, I could see City score those again. But bar the 4th one, which is look at the draw with the deflection, all the other goals were like typical City goals. Dodgy penalty because of the 115 charges. Great cross and goal. And then a typical City move. Whereas all the Chelsea ones, they were made from City mistakes, which, like Nobbin said, that's not to get a perfect storm like that happening again. I don't think is going to happen for a long time. I think there was extenuating factors as well with certain players. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Nobbins, is Rordi on 4 bookings this season already?
That was the yellow card he picked up against Chelsea was his 4th. So if he picks one up against Liverpool, he'll miss the next game, yeah.
So he'll have that playing on his mind. I'll be honest, the one that shocked me was Diaz, because I'm a very, very big fan of Ruben Diaz. I think he's a top centre-back. The type of centre-back I like to watch. I wish we had him to partner Van Dijk. But he just looked desperate yesterday and rash, which isn't something I'd normally associate with him.
Definitely.
And I don't know what caused that, because it's not... I could understand if he was up against, a top striker, but I don't rate Nicholas Jackson very highly, and he was causing him all sorts of problems. So it won't happen again, surely.
Yeah,
but if
it was.
Does...
Yeah, it was. I don't agree with Mo saying you could have called this beforehand. It wasn't. Most of it was unforced errors rather than something that Chelsea forced. Gvardio's been locking up players all season, but yes,
he didn't lock these players.
That's what I'm saying. But every single game up until this point, he's done that. This is his first stinker, so it's not something you can really call. Just on Tom saying that don't what happened with Ruben Diaz. Absolutely right. Probably the worst of the bunch because at least Gvardio's second half picked his game up. I'm not using this as an excuse. It might not be any relevance at all. But as I understand it, Diaz's girlfriend yesterday got carjacked or mugged or something. Now, I have no idea if that's impacted on him at all, on his mind. I don't know. You'd like to think it wouldn't, but at the same time, he's a human. Maybe that's what it is. Not trying to make an excuse for him, but it was, as Tom rightly says, basically a ridiculous performance by Diaz. You can't really explain it. Maybe that's a factor. I don't know. But yeah, I would be amazed if we see another game like this. As I say, that you'd have to go back 2 years, the last time City conceded at least 4 in a game. So the chances of it happening again are incredibly marginal and incredibly slim. And also, it's incredibly slim that Pep decides to set up his team in that same way again. I'm amazed that, look, City fans were really happy with the starting lineup because it was a really attacking offensive side. It's like, oh yeah, we've got Doku, Bernardo, Foden, Alvarez. It's going to be a great game. We're going to dominate. But actually, it played into Chelsea's hands, really, because Chelsea want to play in transition. They want it to be a basketball, chaotic, open game. That's the exact opposite of what City wants. So hindsight's a thing, but we probably should have started Grealish instead of Doku. We definitely shouldn't have done the Akanji Stones experiment because as good as he was our best defender, he ain't John Stones. He can't do it to that same level. It probably should have been Bernardo dropping deeper, Walker on the right, and as you rightly said, Mo, Rordi was left totally isolated and expected to deal with 3 Chelsea players on his own and to cover that whole midfield on his own. And Bernardo
he's not exactly the most mobile players either, Rordi. He's not exactly,
And but even if you did have, 2011 Sergio Busquets or, the best version of Declan Rice, he ain't locking up 3 Chelsea midfielders.
Nobody can, nobody can. I'm sorry. No player in the world will
exactly,
be able to
do it. And that's my point, yeah. So Rordi was poor on the ball, off the ball. However, he wasn't held. There's been a massive overreact, like it was in Hassam's space yesterday, and people are going, oh yeah, sell Rordi stocks. He's actually a fraud. He's actually overrated. He's not even a defensive midfielder. He's not good. It's like, yeah, he was bad yesterday, but let's not forget how good he's been in his career at City. And let's also bear in mind that Pep basically put Rordi into an unwinnable situation. He can't deal on his own with Gallagher
the only player
and
who
Palmer
could handle
and Sterling.
That is Kante. Only player I've seen in the Premier League who could handle that in recent years is Kante, and even then it'd be a struggle for him. And he was a freak of nature. But
Exactly.
I think the most interesting thing from that game, honestly, from watching it, Conor Gallagher was the best midfielder on that pitch.
Yeah, for me, he and Sterling were like easily Chelsea's best players. Yeah, Gallagher was unreal.
He was
so
immense.
tenacious. He was he was fantastic. I think he's proven
And
a lot of people wrong.
when you've got a midfield pivot behind you that cost 220 million, and they're both marketed as these superstars. Conor Gallagher's been the best out of the 3, not just yesterday, but the whole season. And yet Chelsea fans are remarking him's the one to be dropped. I don't see how you can get that. I understand he's not a flashy player. We've had the same thing, our fan base, with Curtis Jones. He's not a flashy player, but what he brings to your side is what you need in your side. So you can't drop him. I can't remember who said it on Twitter, but they made a good point. Where's Enzo Fernandez? Sure, he's a fantastic footballer, but I'm yet to see a £100 million performance from him.
He was all right, by the way. On the ball yesterday, he was all right. He was kind of like trying to do the small passes. But in my opinion, Enzo Fernandez is very slow. Like as a player.
So
unless you play for Argentina.
He reminds me of Jorginho. In the final years at Chelsea, remember when you'd see all these videos after every single Chelsea game of a counter-attack against Chelsea, and they'd zoom in on Jorginho just getting outpaced by 3 or 4. That's what it was like with Enzo
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's very slow,
Caicedo was better than him, but Caicedo still wasn't great. Gallagher, for me, the best performances in that Chelsea side yesterday. Sterling was brilliant, caused all sorts of problems.
So
Gallagher and Reece James. And
It
this
is-
must be the
yeah.
biggest gripe with Chelsea fans with Reece James, because you get 15 games a season out of him, but my God, is he fucking good for those 15 games. Those 15 games, he is at that very top level. If he could just get to 30, they'd be set for life. They'd be set for life.
Here's the problem with midfielders that are slow. Unless your team have the full position, which is Chelsea are the highest position-based team in the league with Manchester City, you will get exposed on the transition because you'll have to run. You'll have to match the opposition speed on the transition, on the counter-attack. And Enzo can do that. That's why we say Enzo on the ball, if you have position, looks absolutely phenomenal. Like McAllister, same thing. McAllister, once the ball is lost for Liverpool, you'll see people flying by him and he can just catch up. It's not his position. Enzo Fernandez is the same. As long as your team has the ball, he will look absolutely amazing, right? Because Enzo is a very, very good player on the ball. That's one of the things that Enzo lack, pace in the midfield. Same for Jorginho. McAllister is the same. And we see that. By the way, Rordi is also kind of similar to that sometimes. Like he will have yesterday on the transition in that foul at the end of the game. He didn't have to do that before because they had the ball, Manchester City. Listen, I want to just ask the $1 million question here. Listen, there's over 170 people here. Can we get to 100 likes, people, in this early morning for me? I'm waking up 7 in the morning to do shows for you. And the least you can give me is the like button underneath your live chat. Hit that like button. Give me to 100 likes so we can get 200 people watching. So do that, please. The $1 million question is, before this game, we were talking City will walk the league. And if you watch my show, Sava says the same. Maybe Kunle says that they're closer. Do we think this is the first team that City play away from home, by the way? The first team of the 9 teams that I said. Manchester United as well. Okay? You played Arsenal away, you lost. You played Chelsea away, you kind of struggled a little bit. Do we think this is it's not as easy how it looks? Like, you're still the best team, in my opinion, City. Is it as easy as people say to win the league for Manchester City? Is it going to be a walk in the park?
It's never easy to win a league because it's the Premier League.
Well,
So I don't know what you mean. In terms of like relatively, I still think that City will win the league and win it with like a game or 2 to spare. If that constitutes as winning it easily, then sure. If you mean, no, they've got to win by 10 clear points, then no, I don't think that will happen. But I don't think I ever thought that would happen, to be fair. I still think City win relatively comfortably. And as I say, by that, I mean, will have won it with a game or 2. I don't think it will go to the final day of the season. I don't think that the performance yesterday hasn't changed my mind on that. Chelsea were good, and Chelsea are a good team. They aren't a 10th in the table. They aren't a 10th place team. We all know that. Like that position is a false dawn. They are much better than their current position. I've watched a lot of Chelsea this season, and they've been very unfortunate in terms of like the not picking up wins when they probably did deserve to get something out of the game. So they probably just had a very bad start. They're probably more like like a sort of like top 6-ish team in that sort of area. And I think that with that, and also with the context of Arsenal didn't get a win there, and Liverpool didn't get a win there, it's not really mental to see that City also didn't get a win there. And then we add in
Stamford Bridge.
It's very tough, yeah. And again, I obviously wasn't at the game. I didn't go to the game, but like John Terry put on Twitter something like, "That's the best atmosphere I've seen at Stamford Bridge since I retired," something like that. So it is an intimidating place to go when obviously they're up for it, and when they put in a good performance, and also when City conversely, lots of their players don't put in a good performance, mainly the defence. So you have that cocktail, and I'm quite happy that we still managed to score 4 goals and still managed to get a point.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I'm looking at the City team and I say you still have a gear, another gear. It's Doku
Yeah.
yesterday. We can analyze individuals yesterday because I've been seeing a lot of Reece James pocketed Doku, and I think both offensive sides were very good. I think actually Foden was good today. How many times he cut through Kukurea? How many times
Foden
he
was the
got a
best
shot?
player.
Was very. People just want to say stuff like, you want to actually Haaland said, but Haaland had a tap in yesterday. Well, who actually created the tap in goal for him? It's him turning Caicedo at the halfway line, which is something that people criticize Haaland for not doing, but when he does it, but he had the ball at the goal line. I'm like, yeah, but he created that. You just don't want to see it because you just don't want to see it.
I can't believe there was a VAR review on that goal as well.
Oh,
and
that
it was
would have
trying
been
to,
so
that
funny
was
if
not
that
even
got ruled
close,
out.
was it? Right?
That was so funny.
could you imagine if they'd ruled out that goal because Erling Haaland's elbow has helped
wasn't
it
even
in, even though it was
close.
going in already?
That must be like the first time, if it did get disallowed, that must have been the first time that was even contemplated, because he was ahead of the ball, obviously. And it was like, has his left elbow scraped it as it's heading over the line anyway? Oh, that would have been so funny.
Yeah, I didn't understand like this, and it took like a whole 2 minutes of them to check the handball. I'm like, bro, it's not even close. It doesn't need a genius here to look at this. From Chelsea point of view, looking at this game, is this the wake up time for them? Do you guys think that they can catch up, especially because this fourth place now with Spurs? Can they catch up to Newcastle? I don't think Newcastle are great. Aston Villa, Spurs. Is there time for them?
And I need to see the performances again. I know they turn up against the big sides. I know they do, but I don't think that's their issue. I think their issue is the lower end, where you can welcome the complacency and where you can get frustrated a lot easier. If they show me across the next month that they can go to these teams lower down the table and pick up good results, then yes, because they've got the squad that can do it. But for me, that is the hurdle to get over, because so far this season, that is the only thing they've struggled with. You've got losses, you've got crap losses to like Forest and that, which blemish the record. If they can prove to me that they've got over that hump and they can get these results that they need, then no doubt, because their underlying numbers are great, their stats are great, they've got everything sort of pointing in their favour, and they've got confidence, which is the most important thing. That Chelsea side was devoid of confidence for about 8-9 months, and they've got it back now. And there's a bit of a feel-good factor around the football club. And if they can carry that through to the next couple of games, I think they've got Everton and they've got Sheffield United. You get 6 points. You get 6 out of 6. Yeah, I don't see why they can't make that jump, because they've got the team, they've got a top manager. They need a little bit of luck, but they've also got the advantage of no European football, no midweek football to potentially hamper them. So I could very easily see them sneaking in towards the back end of the season, especially with the issues at Tottenham at the minute with injuries. Chelsea's players are coming back at the right time, whereas teams around them are losing players at the worst time.
Yeah,
it's all well and good playing against and being set up to play well against the big teams. As a big team yourself, obviously you want to be able to do that. But if you are a better team, the vast majority of your games are going to be against lesser opposition. So most of the time, the question is going to be, can you break down this lesser side? Can you beat the lesser sides rather than the better side? So, as I say, it's a great starting point to put in these great performances against the better teams. But as Tom says, if you can't then replicate that into the games you're expected to win, then you will struggle to climb up the table. So I'm not surprised that Chelsea played well against City. I expected them to play well. It would be more interesting to see if they can do the same thing in the games they're expected to win and expected to dominate. Can they break down, like a Brentford at home or whatever, if that makes sense. So it'll be interesting to see. Chelsea will certainly be there in the future. I just don't know if they've quite got enough to get into the Champions League spots this season. I think they'll just missed out, maybe sort of like 6th, 7th, 8th place area. And then next season, that's when they will look to strive for the Champions League, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I'm I think this Chelsea team are all right. Actually, the average age of Chelsea team yesterday was 25 years old, so it's not kids, and that shows that he's learning. He needs experience. I think the
Yeah.
Chelsea was good. Reece James was good.
How much of that 25 is weighted by 39-year-old Thiago Silva?
Yeah, I see your point. But also, so let's average it. Kukurea isn't young. Reece James isn't young. Sanchez isn't young. Disasi isn't young. Raheem Sterling isn't a young player. So that's what I mean. Like, you have 5 players that are not young. They are all right. The rest are very young.
What do you define as not young?
25 and up.
25 and up.
Yes, I think that's not young.
So Reece James is 23.
He's 23 only. I didn't know, actually. I thought
Cucurella's 25. Disasi's 25. Fernandes and Caicedo were 21.
Gallagher is 24. People are telling me in the chat. So that's not young.
Gallagher's 23. Jackson's 22. Raheem Sterling, madness, 28.
Yeah,
I did not think he's been around for donkey's years. I thought he was at least 30 now. He's still only 28. And Robert Sanchez is 20. It's 25 for me is like still young. I class it as
not very young, but don't do the Italy thing.
It's on the cusp.
Defender, 24 years old. He has a lot of future ahead of him. 24 years old should be prime.
Yeah, but I think then you've got like a very 26. Big bracket though.
Rodri's 26. People just forget that.
Yeah, Rodri's another weird one. He's like a lot younger.
No, because he has been playing since he was 18, 19. That's the thing. He played Villarreal, Atletico Madrid, and now 4 years at City. He has been playing since he was young. But anyway, long story short, I think Chelsea need experience. I think in January, they definitely need some experience in the side. They need to buy experience, especially in that midfield. Lavia coming in isn't going to help. Is another young player. Listen, over 230 of you here, guys. Hit that like button. Get us to 200 likes. Also in the chat, if you haven't typed your team you support, let me know in the chat which team do you support. Just type the team you support. Chelsea, Wolves, Brighton, whatever you support. Listen, I want to move on from that Chelsea Man City game. I want to move on to Liverpool, because coming back from the international break, 12:30 on a Saturday night, absolutely trash scheduling for them. 12:30 on Saturday at the Etihad. This is ridiculous, by the way, especially with all these players coming from like international.
This is the norm, Mo. This is the norm. We have been.
I'm not going to do this on the show. I'm not going to do the world.
I'll complain then. I'll complain.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Every single international.
Sam is not even a scouser, and he's like the world against us.
After every single international break, we're on at 12:30. This is the 14th one since Jurgen Klopp joined. The next closest is 6. We've had 3 in one season. 3, and it's not like I can get Liverpool versus Wolves being on at 12:30. It's a bit of a shitter, but it needs to be on telly. Liverpool Man City is a potential title clash, and they've chucked it on at 12:30.
Why don't you like early kickoff? I like early kickoff.
Yeah, because you fucking play well. My team don't turn up.
Why though?
Because we have, well,
you have Nunes, Diaz coming.
You need to go into Jurgen Klopp's wonderful book of excuses and find out are the South Americans away, and do they play on the Wednesday before the Saturday? If so, you've got your ready-made excuse. Otherwise, we didn't have enough time for training. It's the wrong time to play of a day. You know, the players have got to get in. You know, the wrong type of foods at the wrong type of times. You know, we've got all these excuses ready-made for why we can't perform at 12:30. And they're saying that we've won both games at 12:30 this season. So who knows? We might have turned the corner. But I wish this was on this deserves to be a prime time spot on Sunday, and I don't know why it's not.
If it was at 5:30 on Saturday, would you be as annoyed?
No.
Why?
Because it's not a fucking 12:30.
No, because Jurgen Klopp wants to convince us that these 5 hours and make all the difference in the world.
No, I'm willing to be educated, but I just don't understand the annoyance. Like, does an extra 90 minutes or an extra 5 hours, does that make a difference?
It makes a difference, yes. It does.
Especially
if you're coming from...
Tell me how.
I'll tell you how.
No.
You're coming from... I'm telling you. Let me tell you, because I live in America. It's simple. It's called jet lag. When you're coming from South America, it's called jet lag. If you're coming 2 days ahead before that, it's called jet lag. So you're coming from South America, 12:30 kickoff is 6:30 in South America or 5:30 in South America in the morning. You have been there for a week or two, especially international break is 2 weeks. You know what I'm talking about, Nobbins. It's jet lag. Your body's not recovering. Some of the players, their muscles are still asleep. You have to wake up, you have to recover, you have to eat well, but the body isn't awake yet. You know that. You know, you travel to South America, I'm assuming, if you did. And I know that for a
I'd
fact
like to,
because
though.
I live in America. When I go to Europe and I come back, it takes me some time, and vice versa. It takes me some time to be able to recover, and it's very known thing. So why do they make it 12:30, especially for a team that has a lot of international players that go to South America? One of them is the goalkeeper, which is one of the main players on the team, Luis Diaz, Nunes. This is a lot of players. These three players are a lot of players. McAllister as well. I'm sorry.
So is there evidence that these players have been performing badly at 12:30? Is that the reason
Yeah.
why? Right,
Yeah.
Okay. Because because I'm pretty sure I've seen like I can only use what I see at City. I've never really. Do we only have Edison and Alvarez? I don't really remember Alvarez having a bad game at a 12:30.
So let me tell you, the last
just
time
I
you
don't
played,
notice
Edison
it,
didn't
but-
even play on Open. Do you know that? The last time
No,
at the
not
international
Edison,
play,
'cause
he didn't even play.
No, not Edison. He's a goalkeeper. I'm talking about Alvarez.
But my point is not a goalkeeper or outfield player. That has nothing to do. Your muscles aren't awake. You're jet lagged. Your body still thinks it's 6 a.m. in the morning. It's 6
Okay.
hours or 7 hours behind. Your body still thinks it's 7:30 in the morning. Your biological clock, it still thinks it's early in the morning. You're not awake. Can you imagine waking up a player at 6:30 and say, "Go play against Manchester City, 6:30 in the morning"? It's exactly what is going to happen to these people.
So basically, Nobbins, Mo's giving you the wonderful science explanation as to why Liverpool won it. Me personally, I just hate drinking at 12:30 because then I've got to try and
It makes
spread
you
it out
look
across.
alcoholic,
Yeah, I've got to spread it out across a whole day then, and then I'm bladdered at the end of it. Like I prefer starting at 5:30. Get started at 5:30. I can let them all in very quickly. Otherwise, I got to start like spacing them out, and then got to get food. It's just a bit of a drag then.
So let's go to the game. Which are we're gonna do a proper preview for this game probably next week. We're gonna do 2 previews. I'm gonna have you two in the regular Monday show. Probably I'm gonna have Hussam and somebody else later in the week. Looking at this game now, is this Liverpool's chance to say we're here to win it? We're just not here to participate.
I think we've said that already. To be honest,
No,
I think
no, you haven't. You're saying that you're going to participate. We were here last Monday, Tom. The
yeah,
show is there. We can rewind the tapes. You literally said we're going to compete, but no.
yeah.
So yeah,
In terms of the major statements, sure, but I'm also a big pessimist. If I was to be a little bit more positive, I'd say
Hussam told me he's the dark horse. What?
Look, all I'll say is there is an argument to be made that we've already made the statement that we are able to compete. Do I personally believe that? No, not really. I think you do need a big result here, but I can't remember the last time we beat City at the Etihad in the league.
I'm not asking. By the way, it's not about beating City or not. It's about performing well and creating chances. And if you get beat by a small margin, Liverpool will be out. It's all right.
The one thing I don't doubt that we'll play our game and we'll cause City problems, because even when we were crap, we caused City problems. I think even Nobbins will admit that one of the teams that he doesn't want to play is us, because we just have certain players that, i.e. Mo Salah, who just seems to love playing against City, and even when the rest of the team's playing crap, he turns up and can change a game. Do I think we win? There's a different kettle of fish. But I do believe we have a good performance and have a good little statement sort of thing. Like it'll make some people realise that it isn't just a fluke, and all the stuff about how, their defence isn't good enough, the style of play isn't sustainable, such and such isn't good enough. All this stuff about how it's all like a fluke and a flash in the pan. I don't think that's true, and I think this is a real opportunity to change that narrative, and I think we will change that narrative when we go to the Etihad.
Did you see the game? Did you see the game, Nobbins? That Liverpool Bournemouth, that Brentford game.
I've not caught up on it yet. No, I have not.
I'm not sure what to say about that game, other than Liverpool. They were sluggish in the first half. They created chances, but they were sluggish again up top. Same as Luton. But it opened up when Mo Salah scored that goal. And he's the savior of Liverpool at the moment. Tom, I was watching the game and I kept saying, why is Liverpool stuck? Why it's stuck? Why they can't score a goal? You said Nunes played well. I thought he played well, but still made some mistakes. Yeah, he assisted the first goal with a brilliant pass and a brilliant first touch. Yes, he did. But I thought before that, I thought Brentford would be able to defend the whole 90 minutes. Did you have any worry watching that game at all?
No, not really. Brentford, we always struggle a little bit against Brentford. They're a good, solid defensive side. I had confidence based on the fact that we scored 2 and they were offside. I knew it was just a matter of time because that's more than what we've done in previous games against them. And albeit that Nunes should have been on side for the second one. The first one is so tight.
What do you mean should have been?
I don't think Nunes needs to stand offside after the...
Yeah. After the shot. Yes.
Yeah. The first one I've got no issue with because that is so tight. It's he's like a toe off. That just is what it is. The second one, if he'd just react a little bit quicker, then he's on side and he's got a bicycle kick goal. But we were creating good opportunities. The keeper made some good saves. We were forcing some good blocks. It was just a matter of time. I still back this team to score goals. All we had to do was be patient, and I think we really kicked on as well in the second half. But we were only able to do that because of that man VVD and the solid defensive performance he put in.
He is going back to his best, which is long to everybody, to be honest. Like, I was watching him, and Mbeumo gave him a little bit of headache, but Mbeumo gave everybody headache in spaces. But I thought Virgil van Dijk...
I disagree, Mo, because
now.
There was a very telling moment last year with Van Dijk when we played Brentford away. And Brentford were counter-attacking off a corner, and Mbeumo's got the ball. They've played in Mbeumo, and Van Dijk's running alongside him. And Van Dijk in previous years, outpaced Adama Traore and Haaland and, some of the quickest players in the world. And last year, Mbeumo burnt him for pace. Van Dijk couldn't keep up. They got a corner because Alisson had to make the save and they scored off the corner. This year, Mbeumo didn't get any joy out of Van Dijk. It was when he ran up against Matip and he caught out Matip one time and Alisson had to make the save. I don't think they really created much. Van Dijk was imperious. The only real qualm I had was the midfield wasn't exactly the best.
Because Indo should have got Indo. Do you think Indo should have gotten a red card?
I don't think it's a red card, no, but I wouldn't have been shocked if he'd have given it.
I didn't think it was a red card, but then I'm watching the studs and the holes in the guy's knees, and I'm like, well, that wouldn't happen unless you had really strong.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
There's no intent.
You haven't checked that, Nobbins, huh? Indo went on a tackle. Let me explain to the people. Indo went on a tackle, and then his studs was showing, and he literally caught the guy on the knees with the studs. On the ground, both are sliding. And the camera goes to the guy's knees, and there are holes in the knees.
What? To be fair, the only defense I've got is it's this Paul Tierney is the same shit ref who last year watched Cody Gakpo get Sparta kicked by Tyrone Mings in the chest and said no red card. It just seems to be the same referee with these same poor decisions. If Endo had been sent off, we couldn't have said, "Oh, that's a joke of a decision." That it could have very easily been.
I would think it's a 50-50 as well.
I also think that they've given too many of them this season.
Yes.
They need to remember it is a contact sport. Stuff like that happens. You're going to have situations like that. And it's why, I know we've moved on from it, but the City game, I can't even touch on it. I don't think it's a penalty, the first City one. I really don't.
Yeah, I explained that. Listen, I can just give the viewers, the people that are watching us here, headache and tell you why it's not a penalty, and it's not because Kukurea pulled him back. There is an earlier foul in the same phase of the play that should have been called back, because that play started by Doku undercutting Caicedo when he was trying to clear the ball. Go watch it again. This is my take on it, and I'm not going to change that. I watched it again and again and again. He undercut him, and you normally, if you don't jump for the ball and undercut someone who's trying to hit the ball, it's a free kick. He missed it. Maybe he did, but it caused two players to be on the floor. So it's a free kick. And it's the same. This is why the ball went to Bernardo Silva to cross. So for me, that should have been called back. There's no question in me about it. Now, I watched it again and again. But anyway, moving on from this, like Virgil van Dijk, like people, I think it's an easy take now to say Virgil van Dijk is finished. It's just easy to say that. Easy to wake up and say,
it's also an incorrect take. It's a very incorrect take at the minute. He's
exactly, but it's easy to say.
Yeah, I mean, I watch him this season. I said, so there's been this thing going around of, oh, what level is Van Dijk back to? And I said, and the common consensus is the year where we went for the quad, he's back to that level. And I said, I think he's better than that this season. I think he's went above that level. And we're sort of sat in purgatory between what he was that year and what his prime was. But he's edging ever closer to that one. I saw some stats today, like Saliba's been good. Saliba's been fantastic.
Arsenal fans are already upset. When you mention Van Dijk, I'm not saying he's like
I'll take the flak. Arsenal fans are very quick to go, "Oh, Saliba's the next Van Dijk. He's the best centre back in the league." And then you just go compare the stats alongside each other. Van Dijk is better in the air. Van Dijk is better on the ground. Van Dijk is better at passing. Van Dijk wins more. Like if all the metrics this season point to Virgil van Dijk being the better defender, it's not a bad thing that Saliba isn't there yet. But to suggest, I've seen some people trying to say that Van Dijk isn't in the top 3 centre backs in the league. Like, he's still number 1.
I actually think I think actually this year, this is my opinion. I think it's Saliba 1, Virgil van Dijk 2, and nobody else.
Why have you got Saliba above Van Dijk then?
Absolutely, Saliba is better than Van Dijk this year.
I hear that.
He's good, but he's not that level.
I'm joking.
To be honest, Diaz hasn't been great this year as well. Like this is, I'll tell you. Do you want my opinion? Why?
I just don't know.
Saliba is more athletic than Van Dijk at the moment. Like, the age difference is something that you cannot deny, right? I think Saliba has been leading the defense better than Van Dijk. Van Dijk, you still have holes in the defense, and he's not as leading the defense as Saliba. That doesn't mean that Van Dijk is bad. I just mean that Saliba, to be honest, is putting performances. Every time I'm watching him, he doesn't do last-ditch tackles often. He recovers easier. Van Dijk clears the ball to throw-ins. Van Dijk does last-ditch tackles. That means you're catching up. Saliba doesn't catch up, in my opinion. Most of the time, Saliba is on the front foot reading the game. What I mean reading the game is that you see Saliba, the forward is going and the pass is being played. Saliba's already there. He knows where the pass is going, right? And also he can recover. So I think Saliba, for me, has been the best defender in the league this year. I don't watch all the other leagues to tell you, but Saliba has been immense.
I mean,
this is how I see it. You're a Liverpool fan. I'm a neutral or not, but you can just.
I just look at it and go, it's how different teams set up. It's different styles. I think we play a much higher line.
It's the same because both are isolated. It's the same. Both teams leave their defenders isolated for one-on-ones and with space. Both teams are position-based teams, especially against lower opposition teams.
But then it just comes down to start. Van Dijk's always been a bit more of a passive defender. He's always willing to let the attack.
No, Van Dijk has always been an active. Van Dijk is always a guy. He used to be the guy that reads the game all the time before the players come in. Come on.
I still think he does that to an degree, but when he's putting a one-on-one situation against an attacker, Van Dijk's always been the type of defender to back off.
He's very passive, yeah.
He used to get fucking pelters. I think Van Dijk. I just look at it and go, Van Dijk has been so much better in the air, so much better in the air. I haven't seen Van Dijk get bullied at all this season. Saliba's. When you go look at Saliba in the air, he's got like a 50% win rate, whereas Van Dijk has like an 87%. I think Van Dijk as a defender alone.
I'm not going to do the stats, right? If I'm picking a team today, and you're telling me Saliba or Van Dijk, I'm picking Saliba. I'm not doing the stats game here. I'm not. Listen, I have enough shows with stats. I'm not going to do this.
I've still got to go Van Dijk. I
can. So. Listen,
if we're being fair to Van Dijk as well, just touching on like how different teams set up and stuff, I think Arsenal's formation is probably without the ball is probably a bit more. It probably offers a bit more security.
Arsenal have a defensive midfielder and we don't.
Saliba, whereas Liverpool may be less stable. So that's all. You can read into that what you will. I'd maybe just say that if we're giving Van Dijk some credit, I think that he's probably got a harder job, if that makes sense, because the midfield in front of him isn't as secure or stable from a defensive standpoint.
See, that's why there's a debate. Fair enough.
It's very close, though. I don't really have a strong opinion either way.
Actually, Nobbins. Thank you. Very good analysis of it. Like, this is why you're here, to put more perspective to things.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, but listen,
I like how I've just been earmarked as the one who's here to just run agendas.
Yeah.
Nothing's been the analysis. I just bring the controversial points.
You need yin and yang. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's all right. Like, I'm just here to ask questions. But anyway, listen, about Liverpool, in my opinion, I think Liverpool are going to be there and thereabout until January. This Luton game, I said, don't overlook. Even the Toulouse game, I said, this is just whatever. You know what? Liverpool are going to score goals. Liverpool are going to do okay. Van Dijk is good. Matip is all right. I think Liverpool are fine. I think this game against Man City isn't going to tell us anything, to be honest. It's not going to tell us anything unless you get smashed 4-5, which is, I don't think is going to happen, to be honest. Moving on to Arsenal, though. I'm not sure if any of you watched the game, because I did. And Arsenal are back again to creating chances. Arsenal are back again to be good. Arsenal are back again to be all right. I think they created, they had 16 shots or something like that in this game. It's Burnley who are very weak defensively.
You just answered it there, Mo.
They're very weak.
If it was anyone other
they
than...
can only beat us ahead of you.
But while I agree with that, that's not going to now make me think,
which one is tougher, Brentford or Burnley? I think Brentford is tougher.
I think Burnley are the easiest teams to play in the league.
For a team like Arsenal, where Burnley will try to actually have a go at you rather than, let's say like a... I don't know.
Sheffield United or Luton know their shit, so they just sit back. Burnley are shit, but try and play like the Barca. So they leave so much space for attackers to go into. And then when it's good attackers going into the space, all of a sudden Charlie Taylor isn't actually good enough one-on-one against Bukayo Saka. And they get exposed.
You know, Arsenal in the first half tried. They couldn't break them, right? They tried so many times to break Burnley and they couldn't. So you heard it here first. Tom is telling you guys, Arsenal fans, don't be happy. You're shit. You only beat Burnley.
That's not what this.
That's what I just said.
Mo is a massive fraud.
We'll let him run with that. All I'm saying is Burnley are the easiest teams to play in the league. I wouldn't now go saying, Arsenal are back to their very best.
Only beat easy teams. These are the statements. Tom, say the statements. You only beat
Mo, I can run agendas because Arsenal didn't beat Newcastle and we beat Newcastle. So maybe they do only beat the easy teams like Burnley. Maybe they can't handle these big, scary away days against the... Mind you, they can't because they've played about 3 top... let's look at the away games they've played this year against top 10 sides in all comps. They've had Newcastle, loss. West Ham, loss. Chelsea, draw. Should have been a loss if Robert Sanchez wasn't Robert Sanchez. It's not exactly the most, impressive away record. All things
against
considered.
What? Against big teams?
Against sides in the top 10, yeah.
Well, Man City didn't win against... Oh, they won against West Ham, yeah. Man City. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, listen, I think Arsenal are all right. I think Declan Rice... He's been playing as an 8. If he plays,
they're very good. They're more than all right. They are very good.
Their defense is very good, actually, very good. I think their defense is going to carry them. Their offense, Odegaard is going to be back soon, and I think he was injured. That's what they said. So I think they're going to be all right. But Arsenal, are they the outsider chance? Are they the outsider team to win the Premier League if they win the Premier League? Liverpool. Because I've seen people now saying it's Liverpool and City and then Arsenal, the outsiders.
That's surely just people getting giddy, isn't it? I mean, how many people had Liverpool in their top 2 before a ball was kicked this season, to be fair?
We still lack a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
We still lack the most important position at the minute.
It's got to be Liverpool who, if we're saying, out of these 3, if one wins, which is which would you say has like the most outsider chance? Surely it's Liverpool, right? Everyone before this season was saying it's going to be a shootout between City and Arsenal. It's got to be. I still think Liverpool will finish first.
I like how we're playing, but we've not suddenly went from 5th to 2nd best team in the league. We've not jumped Arsenal on that.
But okay, who is playing better this year? Arsenal, Liverpool. Forget what we had from the beginning of the season. Who's playing better for you this year? How you ask it, right? We didn't know that you're gonna sign Gravenberch, McAllister, Sabozlai, that Van Dijk is gonna be back to his best. We didn't know that Odegaard is not gonna be playing well. We didn't know that Thomas Partey is gonna be injured for now most of the first 12 games. We didn't know that. So we're only gonna analyze the first 12 games, right? Who has been playing better for you? People in the chat, let me know who has been playing better, Liverpool or Arsenal. The first 12 games. Don't give me the predictions or shit like that. Who has been playing better?
I think Liverpool have been playing more fun football and more entertaining football. So it depends what you mean.
Playing better.
It depends what you mean by better. If by better do you mean, which is
overall, which team would you pick?
To win the title, for example.
Tomorrow. Okay, now if both teams are playing, if Liverpool and Arsenal are playing the same team tomorrow,
depends on the team.
Average team. It's like I don't know what to tell you, Nobin. It's like you're complicating the question.
Just throw a Premier League team out there. Just throw a Premier League team out there.
I don't know. I don't know. If both teams are playing Aston Villa at home, who would you pick to have an easier game?
Arsenal.
Well, we beat Villa 3-0 this season at home.
They smashed Villa. Actually, they just didn't even beat Villa.
I do wonder if Arsenal could probably get that same result, to be fair. The one thing I will say is we have a better attack than them. I think we have a better performing attack, whether it's injuries or whatever. Even when Jesus returns and they've got, their starting 11, which they apparently never play, of Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, and then Odegaard in behind, I still think our attack's better and more threatening. It comes down to the defence, and right now both teams have conceded the same amount of goals, but we are massively overperforming expected goals against.
Offensively, yeah.
Defensively, we've conceded 10 goals this season, and we should have conceded 15 based on XG.
Yeah, but you have Alisson.
Yeah, so
the thing about Arsenal is that their offense should not have scored 25 and they scored 15. They haven't. Their XG reflects the amount of goals they scored.
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts. But if you want to say Arsenal, I can see it. If you want to say Liverpool, I can see it. I'm going to go Liverpool because I think
I actually think
our problems have been overstated.
Opinion.
But I think Arsenal have a more reliable side, should we say, in terms of them from defence to midfield to attack is all very good. We have in my opinion, the best attack in the league.
Do we think Arsenal have another gear?
But
do we think Arsenal have another gear? Do
Definitely.
we think Arsenal, based on what?
Based
Last
on
season?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think. Well, I think that I would be very surprised if Saka, Martinelli, for example, continue. I don't think they've been bad this season, but certainly compared to the players I know that they are and can be, they have been underperforming relative to their high standards. I'd be very surprised if we saw a whole season of them, and not just those two, I'm just picking out those two just cause. Then there are a number of players where it's a similar thing. So I'd be very surprised if these players don't rediscover and how good they are, basically, over the course of the whole season. That's my sort of view. I think that Arsenal can go to another thing, whereas I think Thomas touched on it. I think that maybe what we're seeing with Liverpool is what we've seen so far. Is this what they have to offer, which is very good and very impressive, but can they go to the next stage with their current squad? I personally don't know if they can. That's only based off a hunch. All I can do is base off what I saw like last season, for example. Once be proven wrong on that. Sorry?
It's a good hunch because
well, maybe
right now our best DM's injured. Our second best DM might as well be dead because who knows where Thiago is. Our third best DM is McAllister, who isn't a DM, and the actual DM we signed this season, Endo, has won one duel out of his last 18 contested. So Endo
played because it was Brentford at home. Like just
Endo played because we had no one else fit.
Who were you playing against City?
You had Harvey Elliott. Where's Curtis Jones?
Injured. Gravenberch was injured.
McAllister was injured. Suspended, yeah.
Who were you playing against City, Tom?
McAllister will be back for that one. Gravenberch should be back for that one. Jones. I would personally go McAllister, Szoboszlai, Jones. but we'll probably end up seeing something along the lines of McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, or maybe even, depending on when the international games are played and whatever, Jones at defensive midfield with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. Or he might go, remember what he done last year when we played, just where he went to that 4-man midfield. So you'd see Jota, Szoboszlai, fucking Endo might get a game then, and an Elliott on the race, something like that. But it's certainly not anywhere near your midfield, I'll tell you that much.
Sure, yeah.
Your midfield's a lot better.
An interesting game.
Hold on, you think Bernardo Alvarez, Rordi is better than McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch?
Yes.
More balanced.
I think if you were to do a combined one, it would be Rodri, Bernardo, Szoboszlai.
Actually, if I do combined, it would be for me McAllister, Szoboszlai, Rordi.
You think McAllister gets in ahead of Bernardo Silva?
With Rordi, yes. With Rordi, yes. Because Rordi will do all the work that will unleash McAllister. The way he did it for Brighton, the way he did it for Argent. The problem with McAllister now, every time we see McAllister close to the goal, he's very creative because he's a very smart player. But because he has to do all this defensive work before and pick up the ball from the defense, he's not being unleashed. That's how I see it. That's not a knockdown on Bernardo. Bernardo is a fantastic player. Bernardo is an absolutely excellent player. But I still think that McAllister is more creative.
Honestly, though,
Bernardo Silva can play on the right side. Bernardo Silva is a guy. My problem with Bernardo Silva is that he excels in a lot of. He's very good at a lot of stuff, but I don't think Bernardo is someone that had a position that is his. Like last year, at right winger, he used to cut inside, get involved in the defensive side, and sometimes Bernardo isn't a creative player. By the way, why do people think Bernardo is a creative player? He isn't. Is he?
He can be.
He can be. Is he though?
If he's playing in the right areas, definitely.
If he's given the,
I can keep asking questions. No, but did he play in the right place? Like
when? Sorry.
Why Guardiola isn't playing him in the right place then?
Because
there are better players around.
But you've answered that question yourself because you've correctly described Bernardo as a generalist rather than a specialist player.
Exactly.
And that is one of his biggest strengths. The fact that
in a team like City, some teams need someone that is like, you're a creative player here, you're a number 8, you're a number 10, which is, I think, Szoboszlai is, McAllister.
Yeah, but City have that already, though.
He's just injured Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, Phil Foden.
You got. I mean, Alvarez can do it as well. He's done it this year as an attacking mid. Bernardo Silva plays where he plays, plays the role that he plays.
So you guys think that Bernardo Silva is a better player than McAllister? Just overall.
Oh, yeah.
That's
not even.
I cannot stand Bernardo Silva. There are 3 Premier League players I would love to 2-foot: Bruno Fernandes, Richarlison, and Bernardo Silva.
How haven't you said Jack Grealish? Jack Grealish might be the nicest guy off the pitch.
Respect Super Jack.
Listen, Jack Grealish might be the nicest and the best player off the pitch in terms of helping people. Like every time I see him, he's smiling. On the pitch, Jack Grealish is someone that is so annoying that is ridiculous.
I love him.
Like on the pitch,
my boy.
Bro, to be honest.
Yeah, but Bernardo's definitely
he's an amazing player. I would love to have Bernardo on the team, right?
I didn't realize that was actually a point of contention.
My thing about Bernardo is that he plays in the midfield. He gives you a 7 or an 8 out of 10. He gives you a 7. He plays on the right side. He gives you a 7 out of 10. He plays a little bit deeper. He gives you a 7, right? Sometimes he'll give you these 9 out of 10 performances, right? Last year, he was sensational on the right side. But how many goals did he create? Yeah, he has clutch moments, but how many goals did he create? That's it.
I feel like he did quite a fair few goals, to be fair. Especially in maybe I'm just remembering it wrongly because they were big goals, but like, as I said, maybe I'm misremembering. But like against Real Madrid, for example, didn't he score twice or something?
Yeah,
pretty sure.
He's very good in some games. I get you that some players are just clutch.
He can play 6. He can play 8. He can play 10. He can play on the right. He's tried him at left back.
Is he the best in any position in the league?
No, but he doesn't have to be. That's not the point.
That's my point, though. That's my point. He's very good in these positions, but he isn't the best as a DM. He isn't the best as an 8. He isn't the best as a 10. He isn't the best as a right.
Yeah, but I also think that applies for McAllister. I don't.
I
In
actually
our
think
midfield
McAllister
now-
plays an 8, put a DM behind McAllister, and you will see how McAllister creates. I promise you this. But he
in our
hasn't, because
team.
Jurgen Klopp is an
In our
idiot.
team, it wouldn't happen though. The only reason I say that is I don't think we'd commit to attacking midfielders and Trent. I think McAllister, you just move him off and you get him doing what he does now, but a bit further forwards. I don't think you'd suddenly see him turn into this creative hub because Soboslai will still pull
People are
around.
getting upset in the chat because I said that. Because
But Bernardo, I think Bernardo by the end of his City career will be in like, you know, sort of like top 10, top 15 Premier League ever midfielder conversations. That's how good he is. That's the sort of levels we're
I
talking
just
about.
can't.
here.
I hope he isn't because I can't stand them. Little crybaby.
I have this.
I hate him. I can't stand Bernardo Silva.
I have this.
He's a
note down in
fantastic
my
player,
life.
but
Yeah,
him as a
yeah,
person, he just
he's
grinds me.
amazing.
His
Oh, Bernardo.
face.
Listen,
His
we're
play
gonna
style,
go. We're
his
gonna go for
attitude.
2-3 minutes. I have this take on players normally. For me, this is just my take on football generally. If a player cannot make a position his, that means you're not the best in that position. There is a better player than you in that position in your club. That's my point. Like if a player keeps going around, like Rodri, no matter how good anybody is, Rodri is always going to be the 6. Ruben Diaz, Virgil van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? Like as a striker, Haaland, you can play Haaland on the right, on the left. Some people actually think, yeah, the player can play multiple positions. That means he can play a lot of positions, but he doesn't, and he's not the best in any of them inside the club. That's when he didn't make a position his. That's my point. That's always going to be my point about players.
Well, if everyone was fully fit, the right wing position would be his. I think.
Not Foden. You don't think it'll be Foden?
Foden's in midfield.
Hold on. If Kevin De Bruyne is back, is it going to be Kevin De Bruyne, Kevin De Bruyne, Alvarez, and Rodri? You don't think
No,
that would be the
Alvarez,
midfield?
in my opinion, Alvarez doesn't start in our best 11.
Even this season?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Alvarez hasn't been better than Foden this season, and he's not better than Kevin De Bruyne.
I think my take is not the worst in this show. I think your take is the worst if you say Alvarez isn't starting.
Definitely not. Definitely not. We even saw.
I
I mean,
I know Alvarez off the bench anyway gives you an actual decent attacking option off the bench.
and I
Alvarez.
know we've moved on from the Chelsea City conversation, but that game, for example, exposed his deficiencies in that area. I love Alvarez, but at the end of the day, he's a striker being played at midfield. In those bigger games, you are going to get exposed because you need your midfielders to have the attributes and assets of midfielders, not the assets and attributes of a striker. So
He's the only one in the world that says Chelsea cheated, Hamza. I think the only one. Like the only one. I don't know why they cheated. But anyway.
I love Alvarez. He scored lots of goals this season, but in terms of who's been better this season, it's not really close. It's definitely been Foden.
Okay,
and he's definitely better midfielder.
Here's my lineup for Manchester City if everybody's fit. It will be Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Gavardiol, with John Stones inverting to be next to Rodri, Alvarez, Kevin De Bruyne, Foden on the right, Doku on the left, and what's his name? Haaland up top.
That midfield and attack.
The reason why I'm saying that, Nobins, because Stones next to Rodri will allow Alvarez and KDB to be absolutely free.
There is no way that anything will allow
Doku
and Alvarez and Kevin De Bruyne on the same team. That is suicidal starting 11, Mo. I'm sorry. And Pep will never play that.
When they come back, you will see. And you will see
we saw yesterday with Doku and Alvarez. Never mind throwing in a Kevin De Bruyne in there. That's going to make every game a basketball game.
If John Stones is there inverting,
you're gonna go back.
You're gonna go back. Exactly. You're gonna go back to the way you played last year. 5-5.
Destroyed.
5-5. What I mean, 5-5.
Yes, but the 5-5 way.
5 offensive players.
The 5-5 worked though because you had players in that forward 5 who joined the defense, so you never defended
Kevin
in the 5.
Can do that. I think Kevin De Bruyne.
De Bruyne and Alvarez in the same one, adding with Doku on the left, is asking for transition FC to be done against you. There is no control in that midfield. There is no quote.
Nobody will even touch the ball.
I
promise you that. Nobody. in the
They
league.
will
There's
because
just
they'll be
too
so
much space
eager to
between the
release the ball
lines.
so quickly that we'll be giving away the ball all the time. That's far too attack. It's a love. I what you've just done there, Mo, is a lovely, wonderful, beautiful, idealistic team, which can be really fun. I tell you why you want that team, because you don't like how City play, so you want a really fun, entertaining starting 11. So as a neutral, you can have a fun game. But as a City fan, and Pep would hate that team because there would be no control and it would just be pure chaos, and it would be so fun to watch.
So the only player that I changed is Gundogan for Kevin De Bruyne. That's
no, Alvarez for Gundogan. That's a
okay,
massive
so
change.
Kevin De Bruyne can play a little bit deeper. He did that.
And you're taking Bernardo Silva out.
And I put Foden in. Oh, you
Bernardo-
can play. By the way, bench Foden, put Bernardo on the right.
No, don't bench
should-
Foden. Start
Foden shouldn't be
Foden.
benched.
Why
Alvarez,
benching one of
Alvarez
our best
should go on the
players?
bench.
You
Stop
cannot.
it.
I'm telling you, you cannot bench Alvarez.
Yes, you
Yes,
can. You especially in this world where De Bruyne is fit, it's Alvarez or De Bruyne. You especially if we're throwing Doku into the equation, you should not be doing
I
that.
guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
I can't wait to-
Again, it's 15 out of the 19 teams you play. That team that I said can play, and it will work. Maybe against a Liverpool, maybe against Chelsea away, maybe against Arsenal away. But again, it's 15 out of the 19 teams, home and away. This team will work because that team will defend, and you'll be fine. Anyway, listen, we gotta go.
Such a fraud.
No. You'll see.
Mo, do you think Manchester City just going to dominate? Do you think it's going to like 95% possession when City play that system? It's not.
70. I'm telling you, if this team on the pitch, 70 to 75% position against 15 teams.
That's going to give too many chances.
15%. 15
That ball
teams
is going to get lost so often, man. It's going to be a great, really fun, entertaining spectacle. I'll give you that.
Mo, what? Let's say City lose the ball. Let's say Kevin De Bruyne tries to put a cross in, it's cleared out. And it falls to, let's say they're playing against
John Stones and Rordi collect.
That is the most vertical team I've ever seen.
But John Stones needs to get back to centre back. John Stones needs to get back to centre back.
The attack will stop in the midfield. You guys don't understand this. The attack will stop at the midfield. Nobody's passing John Stones and Rodri in the midfield. Nobody is.
I'm sorry, Mo.
Can I ask you guys something? What's the difference between this team and if Liverpool get Palhinha and they play Van Dijk, Robertson, Konate, Trent, right, in the midfield, which is weaker than John Stones defensively, McAllister or Szoboszlai, or both of them, or Gravenberch, and 3 attackers. What's the difference? McAllister can defend. McAllister is too weak to defend. He's too slow. Szoboszlai isn't a defender.
McAllister can defend as an 8. He can't defend as a 6.
How can he defend?
Because
I think the main difference is you aren't asking a striker to play in midfield alongside De Bruyne and alongside Doku.
But he has been molded to be a number 10 all season this year. Alvarez gets involved in the midfield.
And still we are seeing those deficiencies. Again, this is not Alvarez slander.
You saw it in
I
one
love
game.
this man.
We saw it in one game.
No, we also saw it at Arsenal. We see it in the bigger games where we need to.
Arsenal didn't create any chance. Arsenal didn't create one chance.
I'm not talking
only
about
one
Alvarez.
chance.
I'm not talking about Alvarez from a defensive standpoint here, because Alvarez defensively is irrelevant because he goes into the front two with Haaland. It's not a defensive issue. It's when you need your midfielders to be midfielders and have the good first touch and to know when to make the right decisions. That is when you're being pressed intensely by someone like Gallagher or Declan Rice. What is happening? What is happening? Have I just been?
He didn't like what you were saying. So
no. Someone sent me something that is not great. Anyway, go ahead.
This guy, man, invites me on the show and then airs me by looking at his phone.
No, someone just my phone just popped up something weird.
I'm not coming on next week. No cap.
I'm sorry.
No cap.
Apologies.
I'm only joking.
Alvarez.
Listen, you guys will all be 300 people in the chat. You all will be in the mud with Tom and Nobbins when Pep Guardiola starts that team.
Yeah, when he starts at Anfield and we get creamed 6-0.
You guys,
I hope they do. You know, Mo, I hope you're right,
and I hope more often than not.
I hope in March when Manchester City comes to Anfield.
No. See, you're taking things out of context. I said not against Liverpool. I said against 15 out of the 19 teams. That team starts you in the game.
So what 4 teams am I not allowed to include?
Anfield, Arsenal, away,
Newcastle.
Away from
And
home because you
Chelsea.
played Newcastle. They're gonna play Chelsea at home. No, I think Chelsea at home.
It might win, but again, it won't be the most optimal way to win a game because if you play fun vertical football.
See, here we go. It is all the stats and the most optimal way to win. You need to do what we do. Go 1-0 down, make it a bit fun. People leave the enjoyment of the sport. People leave for, it's an entertainment industry, not all this. Right, if we play this, then we have an 87% chance of winning because you've got this. Have some fun with it, man. Have some fun. Optimal way to win.
Fun doesn't win you the treble, Tom. Okay, boring control does.
Fun nearly won.
So you played Gundogan. You played Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne behind Haaland last year. Gundogan was sometimes the highest guy on the pitch inside the 18, getting in the
Gundogan is an all
hold on.
midfielder.
Yeah, fine. I'm talking about on the pitch. Gundogan was so high. John Stones was so high. But when I say play John Stones next to Rordi and play Alvarez and Kevin De Bruyne, I have an agenda. You guys just watch football.
No, you don't have an agenda. No, you have an agenda for fun. There's nothing
It'll be
wrong with
amazing
that.
to watch.
Yeah, well, I'm not denying that. It'll be great. It'll be a great game. But then you're inviting the likes of Bournemouth into the game by giving them loads of the ball.
It's not the optimal way to win, Mo. You're going to have a 15% chance of losing instead because you're going to have space between the lines because this.
Anyway.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess time will tell who's right and who's wrong. Because I'm telling you, this team is starting. And you guys, this team is.
Do you want me to know? That type of system would work better with us, a team that thrives off of chaos. It would not work with Pep Guardiola, who is so insistent on control. He's so controlling as a person, as a manager, that what he's going to do.
Hamza's just saying shit now. Go ahead.
Sorry, before can I just confirm, just so like we're not in dispute. So the team, like the defense is fine. So on the right it's Foden, right central midfielder it's De Bruyne, left central midfielder is Alvarez. Left wing, it's Doku. Is that the team that you're suggesting, Mo?
Yes.
Right, okay. I'm going to
Rordi behind, Gavardio, Kyle Walker, and Diaz behind them. Five defenders, 5 attackers.
Okay, so if that 4 happens, then I'll
totally if that starts in some games, you'll see
then I'll come on here and I will apologize and I'll say,
all right.
If we win comprehensively and without any issues, then I'll say, Mo, you're a visionary and you should become our new manager.
And if it doesn't start, I say that I don't know anything.
This guy, man.
All right, people, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that like button before you go. Stay on this stream. It's gonna take you to This Is Football with Hussam. He's gonna talk about Liverpool games. Of course, he's gonna talk about the other games. Stay on this stream. Don't go anywhere. Thanks, Tom and Nobbins. By the way, Tom and Nobbins' channels are in the description. You just have to click one link. I need each and every one of them to tell me that they got 50 to 100 subscribers after this game. Simple as that, people. Today, I might do a show at 8 p.m. where you get to ask your questions. Thank you for everybody that watched us. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for everybody that joined. Make sure to give a like to this video. Stay on the stream. It will take you to Hussam, to This Is Football. And see you guys later today.